Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Ralston Speaks, brought to you by the UNIFIC Brotherhood. As we are all aware, this country is turning into a nightmare. And what's most frightening is that there are members of our own government who watched this unfold and not only approved, but helped carry it out. So, I am not a rocket scientist by any means. I am not a medical doctor or a trained medical professional. Doctors and trained medical professionals, however, can listen to your symptoms and diagnose your illness just by the symptoms that you tell them. If you were to go to your doctor and say, "Doctor, I have a runny nose, a fever, a cough that produces phlegm," that trained medical professional will more than likely say, "Sir, it sounds like you have the flu. Here's what I'm going to do for you." So, let's talk a minute about the symptoms and the diagnoses that pertain to the African American man. And when I say the African American man, that is because we are predominantly the ones targeted in most of these violent situations. However, it is all people of color that are affected in the United States today. So let's start with the first symptom. The first symptom is that after 300 years of slavery, you were forced to abolish slavery and in, issue the Emancipation Proclamation by force during the Civil War. That symptoms that's a symptom. The diagnosis is you had no intentions of freeing any slaves. As a matter of fact, what did you think was going to happen when you brought thousands of African slaves to this country? Did you really think that forever and on that we were we were going to approve this situation and just become your permanent free labor? So let's go on to another diagnosis, another symptom. Let's talk about Avon, Procter and Gamble, Suave, uh, Johnson and Johnson. They had practices of testing their products in laboratories using chimpanzees, rats, even rabbits. But the population of the United States uh, felt that was inhumane, so that practice was abolished. So you care more about chimpanzees, rabbits, rats, and mice than you do about actual human beings that are living amongst you, carrying out the same jobs that you do, living in the same neighborhoods that you do. That symptom to me says we are underfoot and you only tolerate us as long as we keep our place. Now, by keeping our place, I mean as long as we dribble a ball, throw a football, hit a golf ball, whack a tennis ball. But at the moment one of those African American men or women steps out of place, then, as Hitler Trump said to about Colin Kaepernick to the commissioner of football, get that son of a bitch out of here because he didn't know his place. Let me find another example. Remember Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus? Well, those big top shows went on for decades in the United States. They were a source of entertainment. But as soon as an elephant attacked a man and a lion attacked, I'm sorry, a tiger attacked another man, the focus was on animal cruelty because these animals were kept in captivity only for our amusement. But when those very same animals showed their discomfort at their lives, instead of telling them, get that son of a bitch out of here, we abolished the practice of big top and we set those animals free in conservation parks and retirements and even zoos for that matter. Used to be cages. People walked by and viewed the animals and they were in concrete enclosures with a bucket of water. Now, what are the zoos like? The zoos mirror the actual environment that those animals were captured from. They have large enclosures. The polar bears have a large swimming area. Uh, the wolves have a plain with trees and dens and acres of travel land. The monkeys have foliage and although falls, but they do have trees that they can climb and ropes and nets. Now, the African American man shows his discomfort and he is targeted for false arrest, uh, elevated incarceration. So instead of alleviating the situation and giving us a better life, we find ways to make our lives worse. Mass incarceration, which is another form of slavery, by the way, because once you do in some time in the prison system, whether it be an actual crime or a false one, you become imprisoned thereafter because you are marked for life. Now, I'm not trying to preach hatred here. As a combat marine, I I never hated the the uh, the elements that I was instructed to to fight, but I understood one thing. If they wanted me dead, I had to take actions so that their wish didn't come true. Now, it seems evident in the country today that many of the of certain factions, the Aryan Nation, the Ku Klux Klan, the closet racist, they would rather us be dead. So what are we going to do about this situation? What are we going to do about these symptoms that I've just mentioned? We are going to do what we have always done. We're going to succeed through all odds because as time goes by and the protests that you're seeing now is evident that the time is coming where we will either be heard or there will be some serious action. And the serious actions that we've been faced throughout our lifetime, I guarantee we will come out on top. You know, there is a chapter in the Bible, Genesis, that that I've been instructed on recently, and all of this has been foretold. The first will become last, and the last will become first. And just like the lions in a big top performance, and the elephants in the big top circuses, they were finally fed up with their lot. They attacked, and people took notice. Our attack hopefully will not be a violent one, but I feel that the time is coming where we will either be heard or this symptom of our existence will continue uh, for years and years to come because the mentality of the people that are inflicting these these offenses on us have no intentions of changing their attitude. So we have no choice but to act. And let this be a preamble to this this inevitable circumstance that I've mentioned before, because how long will we have to endure this kind of behavior? If you have to have a riot, a protest that the world is joining in on to bring to the attention of the offenders that this situation is unacceptable, if you have to be given this sort of wake up call, then you've ignored your alarm clock too long. You've hit the snooze button way too many times, and it is time for you to wake up. My name is Ralston. Thank you for listening.